When creating images on the web, it is crucial to have a good knowledge of what type of image to use online and when it's appropriate to use one image type over the other. Your decision on which type of image to use will largely be based on file size and functionality. Your main goal will always be to get the best image quality at the smallest file size possible. Before we go into using images, let's examine the three file types we'll be using for our web graphics. The first type we'll be looking at is JPEG. JPEG is short for Joint Photographics Export Group. The JPEG file format allows you to create images with millions of colors, which makes it an ideal for photographs. The downside to JPEG is that it doesn't support transparency and animation, and it loses quality whenever it is compressed. The second type we're looking at is GIF, which is short for Graphics Interchange Format. Unlike JPEGs, which are 24-bit images, GIFs are 8-bit, which limits their color palette to a maximum of 256 colors. GIFs have the great advantage of not losing quality whenever they are compressed. GIFs also support animation and transparency, making them the preferred choice for icons and animated graphics. Due to their limited palette, they are not ideal for images that have a wide range of color. The third image type is PNG, which stands for Portable Network Graphics. PNGs are made to have the characteristics of both JPEG and GIFs. They support transparency and do not lose quality when compressed. However, PNGs are 24 bits, meaning they can be used for images with a wide range of color. The downside to PNGs is that they tend to be a little larger in file size compared to JPEGs and GIFs. As a general rule, JPEGs are best for large images and photographs. GIFs are great for thumbnails or icons and images needing animation. PNGs are awesome for use where JPEGs or GIFs cannot fit in, but file size should be taken into consideration, and very old browsers do not support PNGs. However, the use of PNGs is rapidly growing across the web. To place an image on our page, we simply use the image tag, represented with IMG, as you see the syntax displayed on the screen. Take note that image tags are self-closing, meaning they do not have a corresponding closing end tag. The source attribute of an image is the most important attribute, and it takes as its value the path to the image you want to have displayed on your page relative to the location of the page you are currently working on. In this first example, the page is linking to an image in the same location as the page. In this second example, the page is linking to an image in a folder called Images in the same location as the page. In the third example, we see a page linking to an image one level up the directory relative to the location of the page. Images are awesome elements to use on our pages, so let's see how they look in code.
What's up guys, welcome to working with images in code. Enough of the theories, let's get something rolling here. As you can see, I already have a HTML document opened. This images.html in my lectures folder, and if I quickly go into my lectures folder, I've created another folder called images, and inside images I have an image saved, img_1.jpg. This is the image we're going to be using. Quickly switch back to my Aptana Studio environment. You see I have a paragraph commented out here, which we're going to be using later on, and my browser window, my images.html file, I have nothing displaying yet. That's quite understandable. So what I'm going to do first is to place my image on my page, and I do that by simply typing the img tag and the source attribute to link to my image. Then I'll go images/img_1.jpg. Always remember to put the extension. Then I will close my image tag, save the file, preview it in my browser, and there you have it. Smile to the camera. Could I go back to my code? There are actually a lot of other attributes that we can use in our to display our image. There we can set the width of our image, to a specific value. Let me say 200. I know this image is more than 200, so definitely it's going to scale down. Go back to the browser, preview it, and you see my image now is 200 pixels wide. Yeah. Another attribute we can set is the height. You can set the height of the image. I'm going to be giving it a height that is higher than its original height. I'm going to give it 300 pixels. Go back to my browser, refresh the page, and you see our page increases, our image rather increases in height. Just quickly going to go back to my Untitled Studio and quickly just remove those attributes and allow the image to display in its default size. Just reload the page and there we have it. I'm going to go back to my code. I'm going to uncomment this paragraph here to have some lorem ipsum text within. So I have that paragraph commented. I've removed the comments from that paragraph so that we can actually see it on our screen. So we go back to our browser, we load the page, and you see our text comes right after our image. Now this is the default placement for text that comes after an image. It displays below the image. Now what if we just want our text to wrap beside the image? What if we don't want it down? We want it to be written somewhere here. Now the image tag has an attribute of align, and for example, if we want to make our text appear here, we're going to be aligning our image to the left. So I'm going to go back to my code, place in the align attribute and set its value to left. I'm going to save that, go back to my page, reload it, and as you can see, just like magic, our text comes right beside our image. Now you might want to put a little more space between the image and the text. The image tag has special attributes that do that. To put a horizontal spacing, that's what we're going to be needing here, because it's going to be space between our image and our text. That will be a horizontal space. There's an attribute of each space that we can set. Sorry, I spelled that wrongly. Each space that we can set on our image. I'm just going to give it 20 pixels. You don't need to actually type pixels. It's organized as pixels by default. So we'll set 20 pixels for that and go back to our page, reload it, and as you can see, there's now more space. There's more spacing between our image and our text. Now notice that the spacing here also increases. I'm going to get that away quickly. Sorry about that. Our spacing here also increases. The reason is that each space actually sets space for the two sides of the image. It sets the space at the two sides of the image. So we have 20 pixels going on here and another 20 pixels around here. Now sometimes that may not be desired, but we're going to be looking at that later on when we're studying cascading style sheets. I'm going to go back to my code. There's also a corresponding V space that we can set to control vertical height between our text and vertical spacing rather between our text and the image that either comes before it or comes after our text. Now one other attribute, or first before that, let's try and align our image to the right and let's see what happens. Let's set the value of our align attribute to right. We'll save our file, return to our page, reload it. As you can see, our image immediately floats to the right and our text floats to the left. Isn't that awesome? Cool. Good. Now the last attribute we're going to be looking at on the image is the border attribute. This actually allows us to set a border around our image. So we're going to set a border of 1 pixel around our image. Border equals 1. Border of 1 pixel around our image. Go to our browser, reload the page. As you can see, a nice clean 1 pixel border appears just around our image, giving it some kind of a Polaroid effect. So these are some of the cool things you can do with images on your page. We're still going to look at various applications of images in later chapters, but for now you've learned how to put an image on your page, and that's all we'll be needing for now. Later chapters we're going to see how to use images in a whole lot of cool, wonderful ways. So I want you to really be expectant and have fun.